We were a little bit ago talking, these might not even come out in order.
No,
but
probably not.
Just so people know, we're wearing the same clothes. We were talking about an Office episode that's an all-time great. This is a top 5 Seinfeld episode for me, 1994.
1994, yeah.
3 squares? You can't spare 3 squares?
No, I don't have a square to spare. I can't spare a square.
Well, is it 2 ply? Because if it's 2 ply, I'll take 1 ply. 1 ply. 1 puny little ply. I'll take 1 measly ply.
Look, I don't have a square and I don't have a ply. No, I beg you.
The stall. Can you spare a square? Which is probably one of the most iconic lines in Seinfeld. I've never been in this situation. Well, let me back up. I've been in a situation where there was no toilet paper in a stall. I have never been in a situation where I felt inclined to
Ask somebody.
in the stall next.
Stop it. Get some help.
It seems like a lot.
Yeah. One of the first things I do when I get into a stall is there toilet paper? Oh, there's not? Okay, I'm not going in this stall. Or I gotta find toilet paper someplace.
Do you have any horrific stories about that? Public bathroom story?
Other than people just wrecking bathrooms?
I'm gonna wreck it!
No,
Or
like a harrowing, no toilet paper. Apparently you always check.
Yeah, I always check. So that has never been a problem with me.
What about awkward bathroom
Oh,
encounters? Because part of the reason I think this resonates is I think everyone's had, not this exactly, but something in a public restroom.
The most awkward bathroom story that has ever occurred to me was when I was working in City Hall. There was a guy.
Holy fish paste! It's a guy!
Who would go into the bathroom on, I forget which floor it was, but go into one of the stalls. There's multiple stalls in the bathroom. He would just be chatting away on his earpiece.
While he was taking a shit?
While he's taking a shit, while other people in there are taking shits. I don't know who he was talking to, but how you could do that when the potential for just explosions taking place. And then the person on the phone has to be like, are you in a bathroom? Are you taking a shit right now? Are you
It's not like you can just count on muting yourself because the other stalls are going too.
Yeah. You could mute it if it was just you and be like, oh, sorry, I gotta I gotta take a shit. Oh, I gotta and I'll be honest, there have been times when I've been at home where I've been on hold for an hour with Comcast, with whoever, and I'm on hold just waiting, and I'm like, man, I gotta go to the bathroom. Not even taking a shit, but just I gotta go to the bathroom, and I can't wait much longer. And then I'm in the middle of going to the bathroom, and it's like, hi, this is so and so. How can I help you today? And it's okay, well I can mute it while I'm finishing up, and then unmute it, and then mute it so that I can flush, and they don't hear me flushing the toilet.
I do that all the time.
But how this guy would get away with it because of how many times people would just be dropping bombs and flushing the toilet, and here he is just chatting away every day too.
I'm gonna have to have Carl bleep out the name just in case, but there's no other way that I can ask you this question.
Okay.
Were you in the office when
Mr. Beast
worked there?
Yes.
So you know what he did?
I didn't. I don't know. I mean, remind me because it's possible that I know, but
he would go take a shit every day with a manila folder of work and a coffee cup. He would bring it all in the bathroom with him. I don't know why he brought the coffee cup in, because he would set the coffee cup on the sink and then go do his work while taking a shit.
I mean, efficient. Good for him.
It grossed everyone else out in the office because they would see him walk out. I would go in to do a bathroom regular thing there, and I would see his coffee cup on the sink, and I'm like, oh,
Mr. Beast
is taking a shit again. And then he had half a coffee cup. He never drank it while he was in the bathroom because he was pooping, doing his work, and then he'd come out and take the coffee cup and leave. But he would have folders of stuff with him.
I mean, you cannot, anything that goes into a bathroom, it's the end of it. You cannot.
Oh yeah.
It's.
I know people that poop with AirPods in. That's disgusting to me. You're getting poop particles The only thing about you shouldn't have your toothbrush in the same
Yeah.
room, and everyone has their toothbrush in their bathroom for the most part, so it's kind of avoidable. But like poop particles float in the air and get on the brush. So if you have your AirPods in, I mean, I look at my phone.
Yeah.
I have 2 really awkward bathroom stories. One is about a public bathroom. So I have an aversion to handicap people.
What?
So I have an aversion to handicap stalls.
Okay. I mean,
I know most people like gravitate toward them for the extra room and whatever, which you don't need all the room, so I don't really understand why. But I was in a bar in Palatine, my hometown, and there was only, in fairness to me, there was only one stall, one urinal, and the stall happened to be a handicap stall. Lock didn't work properly, but I'm like, hopefully I can just get through this and leave, right? Sure enough, a man in a wheelchair comes in. This gets worse. This gets far worse. He opens the door so he sees me, and he goes, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I'm like, no, I'm so sorry. This is terrible. I'll be done in like 30 seconds. I don't even know if I was going to be done in 30 seconds, but just like for the situation, I'm going to get ready and go. He's like, no, don't worry about it. I'm like, no, like, let me finish. So I quickly like finish the process, get out, and I see the man in the wheelchair trying to pee in the urinal, and he's sitting like this and peeing up like the St. Louis arch of urine into the urinal. I'm not making this up. It was the most uncomfortable thing to witness. I felt so bad. It was just because I was in there that he was like trying to do this thing. It wasn't working. It was spilling on him. And I've never gone in a handicap stall since. I probably have, but I avoid them. And
Wow.
I think about that all the time.
wow. That's your lead off. I can't wait to hear what.
I don't even know if we should get into the second one. To your point. No, I'm not going to do it.
Please do.
To your point about the no toilet paper in the episode of Seinfeld with no toilet paper, our friend Remo and I were on a video shoot in Atlanta, and we had eaten something like super heavy, like fried chicken and grits and all this kind of crap for lunch. And we're returning the rental car to the airport, and I'm going to get gas. And I was just like trying to hold that I had to go to the bathroom, but I'm like, I can't hold anymore. I'm like, I'm going in.
Red 5.
I'm going in. It's like an emergency. So I sprint to the bathroom. It's World War II in there. It's the beaches of Normandy. It's nuts. And it's just terrible. It's a disgusting bathroom too. It's like one where you look at the toilet and you're like, there are crabs crawling on the toilet. Like, you know for certain that you should not sit down on there, but I'm like, I have to go. So I'm like trying to like hover and like, just like, it's gross. But get through the whole process, and then I turn to my right, and there was no toilet paper.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Oh.
Now, having thought about this again, I should have texted Remo and said, can you buy a roll of toilet paper from the gas station, or a paper towel or something, and hand to me? But instead, I got out, and I'm like, when we get to the airport, I have to sprint to the bathroom again. And I'm like driving the rental car back like this, because I don't want to sit on the chair. Those are my
Yikes.
2 worst bathroom
Wow.
stories that remind me of this
Yeah.
episode.
Wow. I got nothing else to say after that. That's. Yeah.
But that's why the episode is so good, is because I think people, not to that degree of seeing a man in a wheelchair trying to pee in a urinal, but everyone's had something where it's like, I mean, the cliche of the comedian is doing Seinfeld's voice, like, what's the deal with airline food? It's like, what's the deal with public restrooms? It's
Yeah.
it's kind of like airports level of humor.
But there are other elements to this episode that are not related to
Oh yeah, Pretty Boy.
the bathroom. Pretty Boy, yeah. I feel like this is another one of those things that everybody kind of empathizes with a little bit. Not necessarily like Pretty Boy type of thing, and like the fact that George has a crush on this guy effectively, and is in love with him. But like when somebody, you're an established group, and somebody's single, and then they bring around a new like girlfriend or boyfriend, and like you're meeting them for the first time, and you're like, okay, and then you meet them like a few more times, and you're like, oh, okay, I really like this person. Like whatever it is that they're bringing to the table, I really like this person. You kind of become not attached to them, but you're like, yeah, I can dig it. And then like what happens in the episode that they break up, which you actually don't know that in the episode. We only find out about it in a cutscene that he breaks up with her after the fact
Yeah.
because she had a pimple and like his face was fine. But
Which they shouldn't have cut. That is so fucking funny.
yes, it would have been very fitting for Elaine's character.
Yeah.
But like I feel like we all go through that at some point, right? Like I'm notorious in our like my wife's friends, but like when they weren't married, because we were the first in her group of friends to get married, and like somebody would bring around a new boyfriend, and Anne would get so used to it, and she would be like, "What do you think of him? Like, what do you think of him?" Because at that time I was so good at being like, "Dude's an asshole. He's gonna be real bad." I'm not gonna say
can do
like
that too.
not gonna say anything to her friend and be like, "This guy's bad news," but like would say it to Anne and be like, "Nah, there's this wrong about him or this wrong about him. He's not gonna last." Like, and sure enough, like we would revisit it and she'd be like, "Oh, you know, so and so broke up with so and so," and I'd be like, "Yeah, why did they break up?" "Oh, because he cheated on her, or he, you know, was like yelled at her or something." Yeah, yeah. So, but I can empathize with that. But then there's also like the elements of like, "Oh man, I really liked so and so."
Yeah.
It's not often that happens because like usually if you like the person, that there's a reason why and they stick around. There's more of this person is a terrible human being and I don't like them for this reason, and this reason.
Well, Tony breaks up with George first
Yes. Yeah.
for not tying the rope.
Yeah. Because of the falling thing.
Yeah.
But I think that like, so one story is a friend of ours, he's dated a lot of women and he wants to find the right woman that like he can marry, but he has not always chosen the right ones. We used to go to the not the Hofbräu house, but the one on Lincoln that's closed now, the German restaurant. I can't think of the name of it, but we would go for Oktoberfest every year, and they had a little oompa band in the corner with the guy who looked like the lead singer from Men Without Hats, which is a dated reference for you. But so like we would get the boots of beer, and we would do the boot of beer thing, and order all this food. And he has his girlfriend there, and the girlfriend brings a friend with. And so this other friend of ours ordered steak tartare and was like passing it. He's like, "Oh, did anybody want any?" Like passing it around the table. Gets around to the table and gets to the girlfriend, or now ex-girlfriend. And like she had some and then just assumed everything was done and that nobody wanted any more, and like took a napkin and like crumpled it up and like put it on the food.
My steak tartare!
Now at this point, the friend had been drinking for a long time and was kind of
Was
getting
it
a little.
fair amount? Like,
There was still like a decent amount left that like, and plus our group of friends was in such a way that like, if there was food left over, somebody was gonna finish it. Like we would find a way to finish it, especially something like that, which is not necessarily a cheap thing, but
yeah,
you know. And so she puts that on there, and then he sees it, and he just goes berserk on her.
They stole it from me, Carmine! They took it! That was today! Today!
that sounds uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is very uncomfortable, especially for me who was like, I was not involved in the situation at all. Like, I'm just sitting there drinking the boot of beer, and I had nothing to do with ordering that particular plate or anything like that. But
There's another bathroom element to your story too.
there is another bathroom element, yeah.
Yeah. The other, in addition to Tony as the boyfriend, Jerry's girlfriend, who is a phone sex operator.
Yep.
That's also, this actually has 3 really strong plots.
Yeah.
Funny plots that obviously become intertwined at the end. But that one's also very good in Kramer being addicted to the phone sex hotline. I wonder if that really played. I remember the Comedy Central, the commercials that were on Comedy Central after midnight. That's like, call 1-800.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
But it's not like that's a thing of the past. Like that's
I know,
not.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I remember those commercials still being on, probably too late. Like, they should have, I think they lasted longer than they should have.
Yeah.
Because I remember being like 12, 13, 14 and still seeing those commercials on Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Thinking, who the hell calls these things? But now, like, you can ask the kids of Gen Z.
But I feel like it's not, now it's different with the like proliferation of the internet and like FaceTime and stuff like that.
Well, now
like
you can just subscribe to someone's OnlyFans. You can message with them.
yeah, but
kind of the same
now
idea.
like not back then. Like that was literally even probably when you were 12 and 13. Like the internet was becoming a big thing, but like a lot of the elements of the internet that are out there now were not there then.
Right.
Like even we think about like the iPhone having always been around, right, and FaceTime having always been around, but like it's pretty new. Like 10 years,
The iPhone?
like FaceTime and everything,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
10, 15 years
All
maybe.
This is all 2010s.
Yeah, so it's clearly a thing of the past. It's clearly something that is dated at this point. And probably, I don't think that anybody watching this who didn't grow up in that era where they knew about that stuff would really understand what was going on.
Yeah. And also Elaine saying that she wants to meet Jerry's girlfriend because she's dying to know what she looks like. He would have been able to
Yeah,
look on her Instagram or something.
yeah.
So yeah, there are a lot of dated plot lines, but I don't know if it's a nostalgia thing like you and Pauly Shore for me, where it's like that doesn't bother me, but it doesn't.
No, I mean,
ultimately
it
bother
doesn't,
me.
look, it doesn't bother me, but it's also one of those things that you think about and you're like, oh yeah, doesn't really make sense. And like, if you didn't know about it already, it doesn't make sense to you. It's like references to payphones.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm at a payphone trying to go home.
no kid today understands a payphone. Just like we've talked about in the past, that if you went like this to a kid, and they're like, what does this mean? Oh, it's using your phone. Like they know it means using your phone, but why does it mean using your phone? Like they don't understand that there was literally a handset that you would hold that looked like that, and you would hold it up to your
That's
ear
weird
and
to think
talk.
about.
Like they just don't know. That's the same thing with, I mean, think of all of the references that kids nowadays just don't understand that are dated, you know? Pick up the phone, come on, pick up.
You think kids don't get that?
I don't think that they get that. They don't understand. You had to literally pick up the phone and answer. Like, they don't know that.
I guess, yeah, they say, are you going to answer the call?
Like, maybe they don't say pick up, but like, if I'm sitting there going, oh, come on, pick up, and my kids are going to be like, pick up what? You know? Like, things like that. Now, those are a couple of phone references, but
Right.
they don't get that.
Kids these days.
Kids these days.
My last thing on this is, where do you think Tony and George and Kramer went mountain climbing?
I don't know how far outside of New York City, but New York State has some climbing stuff there. They have,
guess.
and they have like bluffs and stuff, so like not too far outside of New York City.
I guess people underestimate how the New York outside of the city is actually very scenic.
Yeah. I mean, also like you're not too far from like New Hampshire.
Yeah.
and-
When I was a kid, I always thought that was. Now I don't think that's because I understand geography better. But I always thought that was weird. Like, where's this mountain in New York?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, you do get some of that with certain shows where it's obviously not in place. But I mean, it's not out of line to think that they would drive for like 2 hours to go climbing
Right.
someplace.
Anyway, this is a top 5 episode for me.
I don't have enough experience with Seinfeld necessarily because, as we talked about in the past, I was not a big fan of the show because of Jerry. I've given it more of a shot.
Jerry's pretty weak in this episode.
Yeah.
This is carried by Tony and George, and I would say Kramer too.
Yeah. So I can't rank it, but it's a good episode. And it's one of the ones that you can quote all the time. I
Yeah,
mean, the
Spare Square is an
yeah.
iconic line, yeah. I think it's like an 8-7.
I have really no frame of reference, so I'll say like 8.5.
8.6.
I split the difference.
There you go.